I'm David Wright from Survivor Millennials vs. Gen X, and this is Survivor Talk with Dwaine and David. Whatever generation you're from, these guys are worth listening to.
Our guest
you forgot to say put it on mute
and taking over the audio. All right, welcome to Survivor Talk with D&D. I am Dwaine. We are just two best friends talking about the show we love, Survivor. I am here with the guy who once laid it all on the table, tearing off his shirt in public, wearing only shorts around a lot of people and cameras, removing his entire shirt from his body in front of many people in his successful effort to win a DWSC reward challenge against the also shirtless Troyzan, my best bud, David Jones. Hello, David. Hello, David.
If you ever show any of that video, because as the challenge was going on, all I heard was laughing across the pitch. And when I finally got to him, he said, I have all of that on video.
I know I do.
Yeah.
You know what? If we reach $200 on Patreon, I'm showing it.
Now,
just to our patrons. Patrons.
No. And
yes.
Is that the one where we push the cart through the water?
No, it's where you were throwing the ball trying to, and you ran and jumped in the water. I'm showing it. $200, and that's going on the patron-only page.
And that'll be the end of this podcast. So otherwise.
Yeah. Anyway. All right, first things first. Some of you are wondering, how in the world is this show going to be family-friendly tonight? Because, as you know, we are family-friendly.
Oh,
so how are we going to handle this episode? Okay, I got to mute Mr. Kyle for a second. Kyle, I'm sorry. I got to mute you. All right. He muted himself. Awesome. All right, first thing, some of you are wondering how in the world we're going to make this podcast family-friendly. You're asking, can I still listen with my young kids? The answer is yes, indeed. You can still listen with your young kids, because while we will talk about the Varner-Zeke situation during the show, we will not get into the specifics and details until later in the show, and we will clearly let you know when that's going to happen. So you don't have to explain, what does that mean, Mom, to your 5-year-old. All right? If your 5-year-old listened to you with it. So, all right. Thanks for joining us tonight. Today, in your car, on your lawnmower, or wherever you are, we are honored to have you in the crowd. And as you know, I just said it, family-friendly podcast. So I'm not really sure how our next guest made it onto the show. I wonder if he's ready. Yeah, he's getting ready. I'm not really sure how he made it on the show, but somehow he snookered David into it. So, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the guy who heartlessly ran over a helpless female castmate just to get an idol, all the way from Survivor, Brains versus Brawn versus Beauty, Kyle the Sarg Jason.
How you guys doing? Just for the record, I'd do it again.
Yeah, I know. How you doing, Sarge?
I'm doing good. I'm having computer nightmare problems, but you know we're working through it.
Been there, done. Hey, this wouldn't be the D&D podcast if we didn't have somebody didn't have computer problems.
I figured. I'm just trying to keep up with Dave.
Yeah. We've always got something going on. I'm gonna make sure your volume is where I need it to be, Sir Kyle.
Ooh, I got knighted?
Oh no, actually your volume is perfect.
When did I get knighted?
Well, you know, we like to.
I'll accept.
We like to treat our guests nicely. So
you always do.
Yes. So
how come back?
How have you been?
I have been working like crazy because I'm a madman.
Yeah. Knocking some people out, getting them back in the car, putting them back in jail.
We finally moved out of the city, and now we live in the country, and we started our own farm.
Oh, nice!
Livestock.
Nice.
So we're doing it big.
It's like, how do you start a farm exactly? Do you just stick a cow seed in the grass and wait for it to grow?
Well, we're a livestock farm. We just started building. My wife screwed up and gave a green light and said, yeah, you can start bringing home animals. And I came home with a minivan filled with different animals. I'm not even joking. I came home with a minivan and wild animals in the back of a minivan.
Hey, was it two of each? Was it two of each like Jason's Ark, or was it just...
It was a messed up Jason Sarg. There was 5 of one and 3 of another.
Some people use cattle trailers to carry cows.
I don't have one of those, so I got to make do with a Chrysler Town and Country.
Yeah, there you go.
It's going to catch on in the farmer world.
Yeah, the Chrysler's going to use it on a commercial. Absolutely.
Exactly. It'll catch on. It's like the hipster farmer thing.
That's right. Well, man, we are thrilled to have you on the show. It's going to be fun tonight. Guess who we have on next week, Kyle? Jessica Lewis. That's right. Mm-hmm. She's coming on.
You go from a bounty hunter to what is she? A defense attorney? No, she's a prosecutor.
Yes. Yes.
Prosecuting attorney. So we work together.
That's right. So she's going to be on with us for the merge episode. You get to be on with us for the episode.
What a spoiler.
That's not a spoiler because it was on next time on.
What if someone hasn't seen that part yet?
It doesn't matter. They should have seen it. That's tough. So, all right. So one last thing before we get to the meat of the show, we want to thank those of you who financially support us through Patreon and through our Amazon links. If you'd like to support us with no out-of-pocket expenses, Amazon, just use our Amazon links. However, if you have a few spare dollars sitting around the bottom of your couch, I found my wife's wedding ring at the bottom of the couch once.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, it was my wedding ring, but she gave it to me. I hadn't worn it in 2 years because I couldn't find it. It was at the bottom of the couch.
So to speak that correctly, you found your wedding ring, not your.
I found my wedding ring. Yeah. So anyway, if you're looking in your couch, you find a couple bucks. Use Patreon to send it our way. Go to stwdd.com/support and select the Patreon button. All right. You guys ready to earn our keep and get to some Survivor talk?
That's what we do.
All right. All right. Now we have, wow. If one Kyle wasn't bad enough, we have 2.
Well, the video's not working on the other one. It's frozen, and the audio's not working yet.
Yeah.
So he can play with that.
All right. Well, we're just going to start talking, and whenever he's here. Oh, there he is. All right. So, David.
I'm still on the old one. I'm trying to cross.
Make sure that the headphones is plugged all the way in. Looks like it's sticking out. All right. Maybe it was.
Game Changers, Episode 7, Week 6. What happened at Exile stays at Exile.
Hello.
There you go. Yes. Maybe switch headphones though, because those headphones aren't great.
Oh man, whose idea was it to have?
Is that your initial reaction to the podcast?
I do actually have an initial reaction, an initial thought. David, do you have one?
I do. Would
you like to share it?
Well, one of my thoughts was finally, a reward worth crying over if I lost. Because what did I say last week was the one thing I didn't have in my office here? I had peanuts, I had Reese's Cup.
Pizza. You didn't have pizza.
I didn't have pizza. Yeah. And they offer pizza and soda. And I thought, you know what? It's just a reward. I know there's no immunity, but if I lost that on something that quick, I would.
Dude, and they had like 10 pizzas. That's crazy.
Yeah. Sierra said back at her camp, that's like more than one pizza each.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're not too tired to do math on the island.
Right.
That and some sodas. But, I'm going to talk about that later when we actually get to the reward. But anyway. So Sarge, do you have any initial thoughts? Did anything that just pops in your mind about the episode that you wanted to just like,
If you can hear me, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good.
Yes.
Okay. My initial thoughts on the episode was finally want to give Debbie some form of credit.
For what?
She kept her mouth shut about what happened at Exile. From the lady, it's impressive. She deserves an award. From the lady that can't keep her mouth shut about anything. She didn't tell anyone what happened there.
That's
she
true.
Even threw out I didn't even have a flint.
Well, and you know what? She didn't lie.
You know, I give her a little bit of credit.
Yeah, she didn't lie.
You know, when the compulsive liar tells the truth, she should get a cookie.
That's right.
And she got a lot of cookies and brownies and,
Exactly.
and everything else.
Yeah. All right. I have an initial thought. David and Sarge. David, the next time you have something emotional to tell me, something that you really need to pour your heart out for, just give me 5 minutes to go get a stick and some sand.
Oh, Michaela was great.
Yeah. You know, I just want to make sure that I can truly hear you. Or I can be like Troyzan and eating out of a coconut and not paying a lick of attention to anybody else.
Until they say they're crying. Oh, I'm crying. Yeah, I almost cried at that.
Yeah, I'm sad too. What? All right, David, do you have any more, or shall we get to night 16?
No, not that we won't cover later, so we can get to it later.
So Debbie wants to make a point to let everybody know that Exile was very scary, and that she was that it was a bad thing for her.
Well, she said Tribal was scarier than Exile.
Yes,
but she said she's good. Actually, whatever he's fighting over there in Michigan is probably scarier than what we're doing right now. So,
right. So, but I did get a kick out of this episode. How many? It felt like Debbie went overboard. And I found out it was only like 2 times, but still, it felt like every time she said something about how hard it was on Exile, that she was trying too hard to let everybody know how hard it was on Exile.
She still kind of looked like she wasn't suffering too much when she was saying it. Oh, it was just terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah.
You know, I know my skin looks clean and looks like the pores are all open, but it was just terrible.
Why are my nails manicured? Oh, they had a manicure kit in the sand.
Why do I look like I got 8 hours of sleep?
Yeah,
probably because I got 12. So.
What's this piece of paper sticking out of my bathing suit? I don't know. Anyway,
these crumbs in my mouth. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So Debbie said, "I might be the only person." What?
Have you guys already addressed that she took the wrong advantage, right?
Oh yes, that was we did that last episode.
Well, I had to correct Dwaine.
Make sure I'm on
the
same path as you.
Yes.
Dwaine didn't start on the right path, but I eventually got him to the right path.
Yes. Well, sometimes
I expect nothing.
Oh boy, it happens again. Every guest that comes on is David's best friend, and
well, in this case, it's pretty close. But anyway, otherwise,
All right. So Debbie said I might be the only person who saw a tribal council not be on the jury. So me being the effective due diligence person that I am, asked Mike K. He answered.
Me being the person that wants all the answers, went to the person with all the answers.
That's right. I went to Encyclopedia Mike. And he wrote, okay, Debbie is not the first person to sit on a tribal without being on the jury. Vanuatu, after Lopevi's tribal council, John Kenny stayed to watch Yasur's tribal council. Guatemala, after Nakum's tribal council, Rafe Judkin stayed to watch, boy, what the heck are all these names? Yakshaw's tribal council? And then there's more and more and more. So Mike posted in our Facebook group so everybody can see it, stwdd.com/Facebook. And you can see all the other times that Debbie obviously did not watch the show and did not remember, although I wouldn't have remembered either. So.
I wonder why we didn't even get a moment of, do you think she found an idol? Do you think, nobody really had any we didn't get any comments about Exile. I mean, this is something brand new thrown into this season, and we got nothing.
They didn't have time.
I know, but I mean, so did they buy it? Did they not buy? I mean, what's going to?
We don't know.
Why do we even have that title? Because this show had nothing to do with Exile. Exile was over in the first 35 seconds.
Yeah. The title should have been Metamorphosis. Why in the world are we using that word? That should have been the title.
I'm disappointed that they didn't about Exile.
Yeah.
I know.
And you notice nobody went back there this week.
Well, I feel they kind of threw that in there like the Julia on Brown Beach on my season.
Oh, just a one-time thing?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen again.
No, probably not. They only have enough money to rent that boat for one night and a day.
They only had the boat for 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's because Jeff's not giving it up.
And
That's right.
and,
That's his boat.
and they only had Cochran on a 48-hour retainer, and then after that thing, he charged him so much extra for Debbie being there.
He wasn't even that long. I think he was like 24 hours because he flew out, got an hour, and flew right back. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
He got hazard
anyway.
pay.
So yeah, I mean, we didn't get a lot this episode because you had a reward challenge and you had an immunity challenge and you had 20 minutes of tribal council.
Yeah.
So
Which is crazy.
yeah. So anyway, so she says there's no flint, and surprise, who's paranoid? Ty.
Who's
Ty's
oh, yeah, yeah.
paranoid.
I thought you meant that she had no flint.
Well, I did. She said Exile was terrible. She said she has no flint. And then I said, guess what? Who's paranoid?
Oh, Ty.
It's Ty. Yeah, Ty's paranoid.
Gotcha.
So anyway.
He's always paranoid.
Nothing new there.
Yeah. I might be on the bottom right now, or maybe the top. I don't know. But did you get the idea that maybe last tribal council wasn't all a show?
I didn't. I still think it was part of a show. I just think some people went a little off script, and it made him nervous. Whereas Ozzy knew that he wasn't going home. But even Ty says, I'm terrible at tribal.
You know, I can.
Yeah.
I
Tell us your
promise
thoughts
that.
on that.
What? Go ahead, Sarge. Tell us what you think.
He is. He's the worst tribal person. I think he always starts to speak and then forgets where he's going in that conversation.
Yeah.
So it just starts making it up as he goes along, and next thing you know, we're talking about flowers floating in the river. It's like, I don't know how you got there, but sure. It's Ty. We'll allow it.
He does that in his confessionals too. He just like,
I swear he forgets it halfway through. Like, oh, where was I?
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll just keep going with it. I'll make up words as I'm going along.
oh man. So
Throw in
Varner's
another language here and there.
yes. So Varner's upset. Zeke and Varner are on the beach, and we get a lot of Zeke and Varner on the beach this episode. Not sure why. We do.
I thought we got good lines there because Varner said I got blindsided and I'm super mad, but you know what? I can't show it.
Yep.
I need these people. I have to work it, and that's what I want to hear.
Did y'all notice what Zeke said to him though? That says a lot about Zeke's view on himself, his view of himself in this game. He said, "I don't want you to get a seat on the jury. I don't want to get you a seat on the jury. I want to get you a seat at the final three. Mr. Zeke, I'm in charge."
Right.
Yep.
I kind of thought that last week.
Last time, but in his defense, it ain't nothing I haven't said before.
Yeah, really.
And I'm pretty sure everybody out there says it.
And when you're talking to somebody that's alone, they probably want to hear that you want to take them. I mean, even though I understand the possessive part you were talking about, but still, if I'm talking to somebody who's high up on the chopping block, or high up on the pecking order, then I want that person to say, "Yeah, I'll take you with me." And that's kind of, that'll give you a temporary relief feeling until you get to the merge or get to a point where you can start meddling into your own affairs again.
Right.
I can see where that would be a good thing. But yeah, I did catch that too. That I want to get you there.
Well, if I'm the one in Varner's position, I don't mind that at all. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be with you as long as you need me to be. But as soon as I can turn the table on you, I will. And then I'll be the one deciding who goes to the jury and who does not.
But for Varner's sake, I've been where he was at that point before, where you are an island of one.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible feeling being where he's at, of knowing my game is almost 100% over. And I'm looking for the hole and I can't find my way in. And that's really where he was in that point. So I feel, from my own experience, when Zeke started talking to him about, I want to bring you to the end, like, you're saying all the magical words I need to hear right now to make myself feel better, because I'm sucking right now.
Yeah. That's kind of how Sandra was last week. I'm on this island by myself.
To an
No.
Plus, she had a partner.
Well, I
Yeah.
know, but-
She had a partner.
She would if she thought she had a chance to switch it to Varner, she probably would have done more to switch it to Varner. Just to keep herself on the island another
Well,
3
yeah,
days.
she would.
But yeah, at the same time, I think she just saw the heat coming for her, and,
Yeah.
and she had to go for something drastic.
So we get then they hug, and Varner says Zeke and I have bonded. So obviously we get a lot of Zeke and Varner bonding during this episode. All right, we go. I'm sorry, what, David? Anything before we go to the reward challenge?
I agree with you. It's just setting up for future.
Yeah, Jason. Anything before we go to reward challenge?
There is no other content.
Yeah. Okay. How does it feel to have a name like Kyle Jason, where people call you Jason instead of
So
Kyle?
frustrating, because this is the whole get to it. One, I go by my last name because of years in the military. You lose your first name.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Much simpler for me. Before I went by Jason, when I was in high school and stuff, no one ever got it right and called me Jason. If I was to correct them, I was the crazy one. Then I get on the bandwagon with everybody, start going by Jason, and I'm still the crazy one. Why don't you go by your first name? And then other people, like, if they do, oh, Jason Kyle, I thought Kyle would be the last name. Does that sound better? Does that sound like a more legitimate last name?
Yes.
It's been frustration since the day I was born. Then you
It's
throw
like-
my middle name in there, super screwed.
And what's worse is when somebody brings it up on a live podcast and you have to explain that whole thing all over again.
Yeah, well,
It
I
happens.
called him out on it. All right, reward challenge, day 17. Everybody's shocked because Sandra's gone. And of course, Probst gets to say, 2-time winner, 94 days. But if I'm the other tribe, I'm like, good job, you got Sandra off.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I didn't think they're all that surprised. I mean,
well, yeah,
that whole tribe's getting decimated at this point. So
You didn't even see the classic reactions.
Well,
you know?
that is
Yeah.
true. Yeah. I like this challenge because there isn't an equalizer puzzle at the end. And I just get so tired of challenges that there's all this action at the beginning, like later on in the show. There's all this action. Everybody's going as fast as they can. And they get to the puzzle and it's just whoever gets it done first. So I'm not a big fan of the puzzle equalizer.
well, this could have been an equalizer if Ozzy couldn't get the balls in the net. So I mean, it's still
that's-
one person doing it.
But okay. To
And
me,
it's more
that's
difficult than you think. I've done the slingshot portion,
Yeah.
the slingshot variation of it, which is terrible. Physically doing it.
Yeah.
I just don't see how that's the same as a puzzle, though. I mean, you're actually physically trying to get a ball in a basket. It's a skill of getting a ball in a basket, whereas a puzzle is just all your brain.
Well, I think this one's a bit more fair than the puzzle. I agree with you on that aspect because you don't have to be either A, super athletic, or B, super smart. It's literally just jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
So it evens it up on fairness of giving everybody the equal same chance across the board and not just, oh, it's a puzzle. I'm throwing my big puzzle guy in here.
Right.
True.
Right. All right. Well, anyway, so they're playing for 10 pizzas and soda. Yes. And these are returning players. I caught this. I'm sure y'all did too. Why not ask? Because Probst might say yes.
Yep.
Right.
Bar ass. Yep.
Yeah. Can I have a little bit of that pizza?
Can we get a taste to see if it's worth playing for, Jeff? Because you
Worth
haven't
a
asked
shot.
if it's worth playing for.
Exactly. You don't get it if you don't ask.
That's right.
That's right. All right. So Ozzy, Andrea, and Sarah rocked that rope thing.
Absolutely.
Ozzy's quick in the water, man.
Oh, I know, man. And they actually let him make it to the merge. Idiots.
Yeah, that was a terrible decision.
No, terrible decision.
But because you've been watching him shine so much at all these challenges, to me, he's public enemy number one.
Oh yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, but
It's going to be that classic Joe Anglem kind of thing of him. The minute you lose, you're out.
Right.
And I
Should
think we'll
be.
target him the same way on that.
Well, anyway, that ladder was an accident just waiting to happen. There's nothing more. I mean, I'm on that island. I don't want to be climbing over a wall to begin with, especially a wall with holes in it where my leg could get caught.
Oh yeah, the fence post ladder, broken fence ladder.
I fall over and get hurt. But the what was that thing? The net.
The
Walk through net.
cargo
Yeah.
netting.
Oh my gosh! Don't you know that just your skins, all that dry cargo net stuff all over you? That can't be comfortable.
It's not as rough as you think.
Oh really?
It's more smooth. Whatever nylon-y rope or whatever they use is actually kind of smooth.
Well, it looked like it didn't feel good.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
That's all right.
Because Dwayne would be going through going, ow, 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 ow,
Yeah.
ow. Who did
Yeah.
this?
I'd be trying to get some airtime, Probst, you try this. See what Probst says.
Dwayne panicking already.
That's right. All right. So, David, tell us who won.
Ozzy's tribe. Was that Nuku? That's all I know. Just Nuku.
Did you take notes? I am beginning
I
to wonder.
did, but I don't take notes on challenges unless there's something vital that happens at the challenge.
Oh, okay.
This was just a challenge.
Jason, last week I couldn't get David to shut up. This week I can't get him to talk. It's driving me nuts.
It's a
just
fight
a
you'll
challenge.
never win.
That's right. Got to keep him on his toes.
All right. Well, Cerise says 17 days and we are worn out. We are emotionally and physically worn out, which of course sets us up for mana day 17. I really enjoyed this part of the episode. And the reason why is because I bet this kind of talk around camp happens a lot. What do you think, Jason? You would know. Does it?
Not as much as you would think.
I mean, I would think, you kind of sit
And I
around,
never-
start reminiscing.
I mean, you sit around, you talk about a lot of personal stuff, but I mean, we never had a breakdown circle.
Yeah.
That was different to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And next
Well-
thing you know, everyone's crying.
Yeah.
Well,
If they-
everyone except Michaela.
Yeah, Michaela. Why in the world am I here? Yes.
Where was the confessional of what's wrong with these people?
Uh-huh.
They just.
It would have been
I'm
an
just glad to be.
appropriate time. They didn't have time for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so what I got a kick out of, okay, so you got real emotions, reflecting on the family, Brad's crying, talking about Monica. Meanwhile, Michaela's playing in the sand and Troy Zan is methodically eating a coconut. I mean, they literally are not in this at all. So
You would have forgot they're in the episode.
yeah, that's right. So anyway, Nuku won the reward challenge. Mana has to go back and not get anything, not get to eat anything. And, I got to admit, I like pizza. David likes it more than I do, but I like pizza. And if I had seen 10 pizzas in front of me after 17 days and I'm hungry, I haven't eaten for 3 days, I'm going to be really upset that I didn't get it.
That's my point in my initial reaction, because it's not like you're watching spices be carried away or you're watching pillows and blankets be carried away. You're watching 10 boxes,
Right.
10 beautiful square large boxes of nothing but heavenly goodness cooked inside of all types of flavors.
And it was
And
thin crust too.
Thin crust, and it was meat lovers. He made a point: veggie pizza, cheese pizza, pepperoni, and it's right there, and you're watching it walk past you, and I'd be crying at that point.
Yeah.
Until I got back. Yeah,
I wonder what would happen if Sierra just ran after him and stole a pizza and went and ate it real quick.
he'd probably
I don't
say
think they've
stop.
been able to stop.
Yeah, yeah. He'd probably say, "Hold, stop the cameras, back up." Oh no, they don't do that. But no, he probably wouldn't have stopped her. So he would have just gone.
Well, Jason, what do you think would actually happen if somebody did something like that? What would Probst do?
I think
I mean,
he'd have
you've
an
been out there.
aneurysm on the spot.
I mean,
That's for
would he
sure.
stop him? What would he do?
I don't know. I think he would just lose his mind and freak out and realize he lost
Did you
control.
see anything that you thought was out of line as far as like people trying to talk, people trying to communicate that was like, you would have thought like, hey, are they supposed to be doing that? Or, I mean, did y'all see anything in your season where they did stuff like that? Just stepped across what you thought stepped across the line?
No. No, they never really stepped in on much of anything except for on lockdown when we would, you're on lockdown for a while. You attempt to talk with your eyes and stuff like that.
Right.
This thing and the head nod point, and they kind of just yell at you. But what's their alternative at the end of the day? You'll figure out, like, what is the alternative? You're going to kick me out?
Right.
Explain that one to the viewers. I got kicked off on lockdown. Jason just disappeared from the game.
That's right. That's right. All right. So Aubrey and Suri are now closer to Brad, and they had their moment. So there you go.
Well, this is a bonding moment. I appreciated the honesty, and I like that he talked. They all had something to connect to that they've played before, obviously, and Brad even has the realization. I mean, how much more not attractive in a physical way, but attractive personally is a person to show emotion over their spouse. I mean, their loved one. He says, now I know why she hurt when she came back. Now I understand more. I've only been here 17 days and she made 39, but now I'm understanding more, what she went through and why she came back so different. And I love that Aubrey says, yeah, you come back different, and you look at people and you're like, you just can't explain it. And then Sierra admits, I cried before I got out here because I knew what was coming, and then she cried after she got out there. But I just appreciated the honesty that went with it. But to me, having an idea of what was coming at the end, this really started to set the stage. And it's what Aubrey said, as in Survivor, your mind goes places you don't think it's going to go, and we get more of that as the episode goes along. And to me, it's not necessarily setting up the end, but it's breaking down the point of, you do things you don't think you do. You think about things you don't think you think about. You just don't know what's necessarily going to happen. Yeah. But this was like a mental breakdown point, I think. Do you remember you probably don't remember exactly day 17. You might. But do you remember how you felt at that point, Jason?
See, this is where I differ from a lot of people.
Because you're brawn. I know.
No, I've been away from my family for a year straight.
Wow.
Right.
So my level of 17 days away from my wife and kids, it's kind of like a
big deal.
I got a long road in front of me.
Yeah.
So I'm different on that aspect. I mean, I was out there and it was my daughter's birthday, and I knew exactly which day it was.
Yeah.
So I get how you're upset. It's not that life-changing to me, though.
Right.
But each person's different. So I'm not trying to belittle the way that they feel about it.
Right.
It's just different for me. I've spent a lot of time, majority of my adulthood, away from my wife, kids, loved ones. So.
But let me ask you this. From a strategic standpoint, if you're on a tribe of 7 and you saw 3 people getting emotional about family and bonding over family, and you didn't have any strife with these people, because certainly you wouldn't have strife with people, but you didn't have any strife with these people, would you consider falling into that conversation and talking about family to bond? Because what a great moment for Culpepper, I thought, to bond in this situation.
Culpepper capitalized on it like a champ. The people that screwed up was Michaela and Troyzan. Because even you don't have to bring up anything or even fake the funk.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to get up, give Culpepper a hug, give Aubrey a hug, it's going to be okay. You're going to get through this. You're strong enough. You were strong enough before. You're strong enough now. Boy, did you just gain a lot of respect. And wow, he cared about me. He was able to step outside the game and show me a little love. You just scored.
Yeah.
You know what else people like? They like for you to ask them questions. Yep. What was Monica like after the first game? I mean, what were you like when you got home and talked to Monica? People like to tell you things that they think you want to know. So like you said, you don't have to reveal everything about your family, but because Troyzan's a photographer. He sees swimsuit models all the time. So he's not worried about that. But as far as talking to others, just ask them a question about something. Now, don't ask Michaela, because she's down there drawing in the sand again. And Mike K had a good point. The last time Michaela drew in the sand, she got voted out. But anyway, but ask somebody that's getting choked up and just say, how did your family react to that or something? Just get involved in the conversation at one point or another. I thought it was a great bonding moment. So I wonder if it's going to go forward.
I don't know.
It'll do nothing but help them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did get a kick out of Brad, talking about his wife came home changed, and now he knows what it's like. And he was only there like 17 days. She was there 39. I did get a little bit kick out of that.
He made that clear, though. He made that clear.
I think I know what he meant about that. It to put it in a better light. Her beginning time, she played with him. The remainder of her game, she played by herself. He didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Now he just went 17 days without his spouse.
I got you.
Now I'm starting to understand what she went through because I'm getting that same feeling of you're not there. I don't have that support system.
Right.
Wow.
See, that's why we have Jason on the show. Right.
Don't count it anymore.
Okay. All right.
I only bring insight once.
Yeah. All right. So
I'm Braun.
yeah. First thing Debbie does, Ozzy, Cochran's not here, so I want you. Not quite, but Ozzy, you're so awesome. And Ozzy tries to deflect this. Oh, no. Y'all were all telling me what to do. That's why I'm so good.
Yeah, good on him, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I'm sorry. I was still reading notes from Mana, but since you've gone on to Nuku, we can go on to Nuku.
What? Were you?
Yeah,
I'm
because
so
Aubrey,
sorry.
Aubrey had a great point that she
Well,
said,
we were already at eating pizzas, so I thought we were
no,
past
we
Mama.
weren't. We're not even at a pizza yet. We're still on Mana talking about Culpepper.
Oh,
I
sorry.
swore we were just talking. Could have sworn Jason had great insight about Culpepper and bonding, and we just we were still there because Aubrey said that Brad to her is the most genuine person out there. That's quite a statement, especially about Brad Culpepper from Aubrey. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then Sarita wanted to shake his hand, but didn't want to do it in front of anybody. But she did admit to wanting to do it. So, so now we've got an alliance of 5 and a tribe of 7. So, yes,
I think Aubrey was gaming.
Oh, yeah.
I
a
think that was
confessional?
a slight game for Aubrey. I have been on the outs in every tribe and on the wrong side of the vote for a while. I need to start building a new alliance again. And I think she saw her moment, jumped on it, and nailed it.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Oh, I don't have a problem with that, but I'm talking about her confessional where she said that Brad was one of the most genuine people out there.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I understand that, but I think she just took opportunity with Brad that was genius.
Oh yeah, because she totally got dumped by her last tribe. She was totally gone from them. She got blindsided as well.
Yep.
But can we really trust what people say in their confessionals? Because CBS is going to ask you 50 to 100 different ways to get you to say what they want you to say. And then they'll use it however they want to use it. So, they could have asked her anything to get her to say Brad is the most genuine guy I know. They could have said, between Brad and Jason, who's more genuine? Brad's the most genuine guy I know. You see what I'm saying? See how that works?
I do, but you can
Even though it was just edited, you really meant to say me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, guys. David, I'm going to let you take over for a little bit.
All right, go to Nuku.
You.
Well, I wanted to show you that I did take notes.
Okay.
I don't take notes at challenges, but I did take notes.
All right, so let's eat some pizza so we can spend more time aqua dumping.
I love Varner coming in with like 6 pizzas. He was carrying half the pizzas by himself.
That's right. But don't you know they were sick the rest of the day?
That's what Cerise said. That's what Cerise said. She goes, they're going to be sluggish.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Man.
I don't care.
All right, so Debbie tells Ozzy you're awesome, and Ozzy says, no, y'all were amazing. I wouldn't have been as good as I was if you hadn't told me what to do.
All
right.
I'm telling you.
I love
So
Varner's
they're
feeling
back.
about winning. He said, it's nice to win, nice to be able to jump up and down about something, but it really doesn't do me any good. I'm still at the bottom of this group, and we did not win immunity. We only won pizza.
So basically, this whole thing was Varner talks to Sarah, let's get Ozzy. Sarah says he has a good point, kind of setting us up for later when Debbie does the whole let's do a mock vote like she's a jury head, and which is later on in the show. So that's basically what happened at Nuku. If you got anything else, you can tell me.
Yeah, I do got something else. Hold on. Say something. Talk.
What? I'm supposed to be
I
talking.
don't know. I guess you and me are supposed to talk.
I don't know. Oh, he's hugging his little guy. How sweet.
So what I wanted to say was, I like Sarah's question to Varner about, and I think this is where she asked him, do you have people on the other side that you can bring in? Is this where she asked him, or was that the next time?
That's where she asked him.
Probably then.
So to me, this is what hurt me in playing at Durham, because I did have friends on the outside that I could get in to help the group that I was in. Whereas if I had said, no, I don't have anybody, I might have gotten picked up as a single. So that's telling Sarah that if we keep Varner and he goes farther, he does have people he can go back to if we get to the merge. So at the same time, if he'd have flat out said, you know what, I got blindsided by my own tribe. Like Aubrey had a good story to tell because she did get blindsided by her own group. But Varner, he could still have relationships over there. So this is good on Sarah if she's digging for information 3 days later, 3 days later. If she's looking to see if Varner still has contacts. Because if he brings in too many people, then they could be outnumbered, if she gets in a bad spot. So I do like that. But I like the question. I thought it was a good question.
All right. So immunity challenge. Okay. So I'm watching. Now, keep in mind, I have absolutely no idea what's coming in this episode.
Mhm.
I was so not spoiled at all. I didn't know the people that were involved. I didn't know anything that was coming up because I didn't read those articles. So, and I thought when I saw metamorphosis, honest to God, what the heck? Metamorphosis?
Yeah.
That's not a Survivor word. I mean, that's not a Survivor word. And it's also long. it's like 28 feet high. How are they going to get that word to begin with? And so for me, without even knowing what was going to happen, I was very skeptical of the word.
Yeah.
And I am skeptical now. I think it's a CBS thing.
Well, I think the best part of this challenge was listening to them talk it out. And I think this would have been an ideal situation to shut Probst's mic off and just keep the mics on the players. I love hearing how they worked it out and came to it. And I love that they focused on Haley and she just started working letters out. But this
All
is,
right. Well,
you don't need narration for this. This is one I just wanted to hear them work it out.
Right. Well, Haley does the smart thing because you got a big long word. So what do most long words have? They have prefixes, they have the main word, they have suffixes and stuff like that. So you start looking at it and you go, okay, what prefixes can I get out of this?
Yeah.
And can I make any word out of that prefix? So she did the right thing, and who knows how long it took them. She ended up getting it,
Yeah.
So I was very impressed. But still, it doesn't take away from how in the world did they get that word. So, but anyway, I will say this once. I think CBS manipulated us a lot in this episode, and this is one of the ways that they did it. All right. I like the physical nature of this challenge, but of course, again, it doesn't matter because what happens at the end? An hour of puzzles.
Well, the physical part doesn't matter because if you got Ozzy, he's just going to do most of the challenge himself, and then you're just going to catch up whatever you can catch. And they still couldn't win.
Yeah.
So.
And again, Ozzy is showing why he should be voted out.
There you go.
I don't care what Varner does at Tribal Council. Ozzy is going to win the game. Get the guy out. So anyway, because he could literally run the game, run the entire game.
Right.
So,
yeah.
All right. I'm surprised Probst didn't. I wrote this down. I'm surprised Probst didn't change his normal reading and say, all right, Nuku, Tribal Council tonight, where someone will be the the first person to be asked to leave the game. Thank you. Anything else before we get to day 18?
No, I have no notes for the challenge.
Oh, gosh. I feel like I'm treading water here. And
That's what today. That's what Culpepper, the third time he went down.
Every once in a while, y'all come in and say something. It's usually like little one word answers, and I'm just trying my hardest.
Well, this is an episode just kind of floated by.
I know.
There's a few tidbits here and there, but there's just wasn't a whole lot of meat to it.
All right. So let's just Nuku day 18. Varner's trying to save himself. He does some good stuff, gets the women to not trust,
I like what he did. He called it Scramble Afternoon. He said, "Can I have a one-on-one with everyone?" And
genius.
Yes, I love the honesty. I love the bluntness, and I love the honesty. Can I just talk to each of you? And Debbie's like, sure.
free time.
Yeah,
Genius. Terrible to let him do that.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
Boston Rob wouldn't have let that happen.
he admitted there's a lot of interviews today. Well, obviously for Varner, and he talked about a couple things during these interviews, and one of them was that no matter who he talked to, it always seemed like Zeke would pop up, out of nowhere. He'd show up at the well, he'd show up around the tree, he'd just show up there. But there was one instance particularly, and I don't know if it's it's called After the Buff. It's on our Facebook group. It's just a quick interview, and he said that one time he went out looking for the idol, and Ozzy apparently got babysitting duty, and he was out looking. Ozzy was just kind of trailing in. He finally says, "Ozzy, just come walk beside me. If I find that idol, you'll see me find it. If I don't, you'll know I don't have one. But can you just come walk with me instead of walking behind me?" So Ozzy comes up and walks with him, and he spent a couple hours just talking to Ozzy. He said it was a great bonding moment. The problem was he learned from Ozzy that there was an alliance between Zeke and Andrea and Ozzy. And that's where he got the idea to go after Zeke and Ozzy at Tribal. He said, this is my split. You just gave me a split opportunity. So this is the time frame. This is when that happened. He does some really great exit interviews, post interviews. I caught the one after the buff, I think, and I caught another one he did. But this is, I just wanted to share that from that interview. This was one of those moments where he was idol hunting, which we did not see. And then he got to talk to Ozzy privately on that. And I thought that was neat. That was so honest. And he said, "Why are you just going to follow me? Just come walk with me. If you see me find it, you'll know I have it."
Right. See, and that's what's frustrating, because that's amazing insight of the game and would explain so much to you on why I just pinned two people together.
Right.
Yep.
That's a shame that was cut out, because that would be good television to watch and build a storyline.
Right.
Instead, it looks like he just made it up. And he just tried to concoct a story that nobody's going to believe.
Yep. All right. Well, one thing you said just a minute ago was how Zeke kept popping up. That's because Zeke is a good player.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can even tell by the way he handled Tribal Council. He's a good player. Even in that moment, he's using that moment. And he will continue to use that moment. And he is conspiring behind the scenes, and you don't know that he's working with Ozzy. And he's telling Varner exactly what Varner needs to hear. I guarantee you, Zeke is a much better player than people on that island think he is.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Definitely.
But that player doesn't win.
Say that again. What?
But that player never wins. You don't win by staying in the shadows.
Well, okay. Not always, but sometimes.
Sometimes. But it's a lot harder, because then I sit there and you're explaining to me, the jury, what's going on, and I go, I didn't see you do anything.
That's true. You got to do enough so that they know you did something.
It happened to Aubrey.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Let me ask you this. So you're on Co-Wrong, and you're voted out 6th or 7th, and they pull you aside and say, "Hey, we want you to come back. We loved your attitude. We loved how hard you played the game. We want you to come back. We'll give you a choice. Do you want to come back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks and play in an all-star type season? Or would you rather come back in 2 seasons and play like a fans versus favorites or a different all-star season? Would you choose to come back in 2 weeks, or would you
come right away?
You would.
Yeah,
because
no one knows who I am.
I know, but I think that, and Varner even pointed out in the interview, he went ahead and labeled Zeke as the next Russell Hantz because he didn't know anything about him, but the guy did something to get back on this show. And that's a hard label to fight off, because if Varner has numbers, he's going after Zeke whether he likes him or not.
Yeah,
I would. Yeah.
That's why the smart move would have been to early on talk to Michaela about Zeke, and then talk to Zeke about Michaela, and try and see what these two are gonna rat out each other for.
Yeah.
Oh no, you don't want to be with Michaela. She did this and this, and then stabbed this guy in the back, and then stabbed this girl in the back to advance herself, or did that, and then she would do the same thing about Zeke. And perfect, thanks. I got all the dirt I need.
Yep.
So if you and I are on,
because you're never going to say bad things about yourself. Like, well, I came back because I did really good, and I formed the super alliance, and you're not ratting yourself.
Yeah. Would you try to work with that person if you and Aubrey went back the next season? Would you try to work with her and say, "Hey, you tell them I went out with a medical evac or something. I got a infection."
Oh, definitely.
Or yeah, and I'll make up a good lie about you, and we will not paint each other bad at all, no matter what tribe we get on. In a shuffle or swap. Let's just sell each other as non-threatening. We did good confessionals.
Yes.
We're funny, but we're non-threatening.
Definitely. And then the best part about that is you have a meat shield then right off the bat.
There you go.
Oh, I need someone to throw under a bus? Sorry, girl.
That's what I was thinking.
That's
You
right.
really-
That's
you can't
right.
Trust them.
Yes, you can't. You play the first hand first. You try to play the hand that makes you look good, but then you always have the other hand. You don't throw out that hand until you absolutely need it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's your worst case scenario. What am I going to do? Poof.
Yeah. That's
She
right.
wanted me to lie and tell y'all that she went out like fifth, but she was a really nice person. But no, she went to the end and almost won.
And then you can even make something up after that. I just had to help facilitate this. She had 2 idols in her pocket. What? Yeah.
Yes, she was an idol magnet. In her
I didn't trust it. She had too many. She wasn't sharing. Bye.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's my fear of coming back unknown, is that they don't know you and you might get, because Varner's right. Zeke had to have been something special to come back the next season. Only people to come back
And
like
it's a
that are
risk,
Rupert.
and I
Malcolm.
understand that. But what's the alternative? The alternative is you come back in 3-4 seasons and you can't play your same game. Me, if I go back, if I ever was to get asked back, I can't do anything I did before. And I'm constantly going to be playing on making up for my actions before. No, I'm not going to bring chaos to the camp. Don't worry. Don't judge me for that. You get to know me. Just give me a chance. You only saw the edit. You never really met me. And you're constantly fighting that battle forever, rather than if I walk in, yes, I did something to get back right away, but so did you. And that's why you're back now. We're just in the same boat. Varner, you're back and you've never been on a jury.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
just good at sound bites. You're a funny guy. People like you. You're back.
Yeah. That's true. One thing, if you think about Zeke,
Shot
what?
coming back immediately than coming back in 3 years.
I'm sorry, I was coughing. So I'm thinking about Zeke. Last season, I think we got a little taste of what Zeke can be like in the game whenever he's in control, right? We talked about it last season. People got upset with me about it. But you saw a side of him where whenever he's in control, he can really get the screws down on people. And I think they didn't show us a lot of the way Zeke plays last season, so that when we see him later on this season, we will not have expected that. So I think he's a lot better player than even CBS has wanted us to see yet, and that they will eventually show us that. That's kind of where I'm at on there. So
Okay.
Anyway. All right. So basically,
I also like. Sorry. I
No,
also like
please.
when Varner and Ozzy left. I know I have another minute. When Ozzy and Varner left, because Varner went to get water, Ozzy went with him. I love that Debbie circled the troop and said, "Let's take a vote. Let's talk about this right now." Because some people say, "Oh, I'm going to go fish." No, let's talk about a vote. That's the most important thing right now, is that we are together. We're 5 right here. Let's make sure we are together. And names start getting thrown out. And Sarah actually sticks her neck out there and says, "Well, she said, I trust Varner now more than I trust that Ozzy's going to stick with us after the vote." And I thought that was kind of brave, but she flat out said it.
yeah.
And then Zeke
It's a
goes into
risky
protective mode, and Zeke it's very risky because you're the first. You don't. That's what Sierra did. That's how Sierra got booted out, because she threw a name out immediately.
Yeah, and Sarah just told everyone exactly how she feels.
Yep, exactly.
She
Too
kept
many
nothing
people.
close to the chest about that. You told
Right.
She didn't have one
everybody,
person.
not one.
Yeah,
All of them.
right. She didn't tell
Yeah.
her one truth. She told everybody on her tribe that can now go tell Ozzy. Guess what Sarah said? Just in case we don't merge, we want to keep Ozzy. Guess what Sarah said? She's gone.
Do you think, excuse me, do you think Debbie literally asked her first? Because if I'm her and I know that my answer may not be what everybody else's answer is, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to do my answer right up front, you know? And I wonder if the reason why she did was, or if it was just edited this way. But I wonder if Debbie
That's a possibility.
Yeah, because we don't know. Because the thing is, Sarah, what do you think? Is it the guy that left or the other guy that left? Because we're all still sitting here.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to point at one of us. So,
right.
Now did Debbie say and we not see? Hey, let's pull all together and vote. We got 2 guys that have left. Which one of those do you want to vote out? Did we see that? And that's where Sarah answered Ozzy. We don't know if that's for sure.
Yeah.
Basically, we got Sarah naming Ozzy. So we have no. I mean, what else was she going to say?
Right.
But I'm like you. I'd pull a Sandra and say, "What do you guys think?"
Yeah.
I also wonder too. How many times did they do that?
Yeah.
Really?
Ozzy's back. Sarah left. All right, guys. What do you want to do?
Well, yeah. Debbie was like, okay, let's have another trial vote.
Debbie's got the machete gavel.
First time we've done this.
That's right. Hey, before you guys separate, let's have a quick chat. That's funny.
All right. So then we get Varner. Well, okay. Do y'all want to talk about Varner pitching the girls against each other and stuff?
Genius move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
He took Zeke's words and made them a little more personal, but yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
And
it's the only play you really had. It was a good play. You go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then Varner's like, I'm going to do whatever I can to stay in this game. And he knows that Zeke is hiding something from people. So he's going to try to use it.
I think he also noticed a shift in Zeke when Ozzy's name came up. Because
absolutely.
That's who Zeke is protecting. And I wrote down in the first note that Zeke wanted to take him to Final 3 until Varner mentioned Ozzy. And then, nope, can't do the Final 3 thing anymore because this is the guy I'm going to ride to. This is the meat shield. And this is what you just said a minute ago, Zeke pointing out, I like to keep meat shields in front of me. And Ozzy is the biggest meat shield in the game.
Right.
So I got to keep that guy here until we get rid of him.
Right.
Yep.
Now, I got to ask you, before we get to Tribal Council, is Varner's strategy of knowing that someone's not telling the group something that he assumes the rest of the world knows, or that this guy, like if he knew I was a lawyer and I told everybody that I wasn't, so he knows that everybody that I live with knows I'm a lawyer. Has this happened before where someone has used Tribal Council to out somebody for something that they haven't told their tribe?
Yes. I don't remember exactly what season, but it's happened before, and it's a good play as a last-ditch effort. I'm dead in the water. I just need to stir up some form of chaos between y'all. Scott could have done it to me on a different level of no one knew I was a bounty hunter but Scott.
Right. See, that's what I'm talking about. And that's where Varner's mindset was.
Yes.
I'm going to call him out on something that he's not telling everybody, but everybody that lives around him.
It was a good idea.
Right.
And then
everybody knows.
Oh, yep. Totally. I heard it too.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have went there.
Yeah. Well, and look, in Varner's mind, Zeke came out a long time ago, 8 years ago, very active, very vocal. And so Varner's like, this isn't something that's going to make him upset. I mean, he's already told a bunch of people. And so in his mind, he's doing it in the game, just like if he would have called you out for being a bounty hunter in the game. That's what Varner's thought was.
There's nothing about the move he made at all makes me think he was trying to hurt anybody.
Oh, no, I don't think so either.
I don't believe that for a second. I really don't believe he was ever trying to hurt somebody. I think he thought it was a good idea and didn't think he was letting a cat out of a bag.
Well, he even said, so we're kind of getting into Tribal Council.
Go ahead.
He even said, let me see where it is. He even said, where is it? Well, he said, I assumed everybody in his world knew this. I didn't think I was outing him to the world. which, to be fair, is the way they made it look. Like he had outed him to the entire world, which he hadn't done. But, of course, then later Zeke does make a good point that, well, yeah, people do know. And he didn't say this, but I was very active in college and really promoted it and all this kind of stuff. But now I don't. He did say that. So, fair enough. There you go.
Yeah.
It's a touchy subject. And so if you out somebody for that, crucifixion.
I thought Varner was actually starting well in tribal council because he was right on point with his separation of powers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was neat because when I went back and watched it, I wanted to pay special attention when he said you all and them, and he pointed at Ozzy and Zeke, and then he pointed at Sarah, Debbie, and Ty, not Andrea, because he knew that Andrea was part of Ozzy and Zeke. So that's one reason. I don't know why he didn't point at Andrea the first time, but he pointed at the two guys, and then he pointed at and didn't point at Andrea, but he did separate Sarah, Ty, and Debbie, and basically said, or if anything, he helped them in their next game because that leaves Sarah, Debbie, and Ty a chance to flip. So now that they know how tight, we could see Ozzy, Zeke, and Andrea gone the next three. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as they get to the merge, and Ty and Debbie and Sarah can go to the other side and say, these three were going to knock us all out, so let's take them out first.
For him to, I think it was a waste of time for him to try and lump Debbie into that.
And, well, lump them in with Ty and Sarah?
With maybe trying to change your minds.
Well, I think he was just trying to say that you three are not in their plans. He wasn't necessarily making them into an alliance. I think he's just saying you three are not in those three's plans. Just letting you guys know.
I think it would have been important to try and harp a little towards Andrea of like, you're not in those plans either.
Yeah.
You have to break that core up. Single them out and break something in that core of an alliance.
See, this is the great thing about
making people separate.
This is the great thing about Survivor. If you and Scott and Ty just bond and you're all together, all I got to do is go to Ty and say, Ty, you should hear these guys talk about you when you're not around.
Yep.
They're going to hug you and they're going to rub your head for good luck. And they're going to tell you how they're going to hang out when this game is over. But when you're not around, these guys say things about you that aren't kind. And somebody like Ty is going to have that one microcosm of angst and nervousness and say, well, if I'm going to make a move, maybe now is the time I need to do it while somebody's trying to help me. Like you said with Varner, put that one little angst in Andrea's head and make Andrea think, do they really say these things? Because they tell me I'm in. Plant the seed.
Throw some water on it and watch it flower.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay, so this just shows the very things that we're talking about shows to me that Varner was not going into this tribal council with the intent of just knocking everything to heck and back. He was trying to get back in the game. He was trying to pit people against each other. He's saying, look, right now, let's vote for Ozzy. I've got you, and you. Everybody said Ozzy during this game. He's trying his very hardest to stay in the game. And like you said, Jason, his very last resort turned out to be a really bad mistake because of the topic of it. And he ended up, it didn't work. But for people to just assume.
Then he paid the price for it.
Yeah, but I mean, why assume that he was vindictive and that he was malice or that he was malicious? You don't know him. And that's just not, to me, it doesn't go with anything else we've ever seen of Varner.
Well, if you look at the edit of this episode leading into tribal, he does want to burn it down. He talks about taking him to holy heck and doing this, that, and the other. And what I'm thinking is, I think very close to what you're thinking. He's 95% sure he's going. He is going to get voted. He's not going to persuade them, but he's going to take the 5% and he's going to try and make those cracks bigger. He's going to try and put their games in jeopardy. If there's a crazy percent something happens, he'll take it. But otherwise, he's going to make them walk out of tribal looking at each other like, wow, I thought I knew you, and I guess I don't now.
He did what I did many times. The numbers are against me. It's time to put on a big show in production. I'm going to burn it to the ground. I'm going to get everybody involved. I'm going to start singling people out.
Yep.
I think that's what he meant by that. I'm putting out, not I'm going to say something I regret. I think it's, no, I'm going to start pinning people against each other. Hey, this alliance is going on behind your back. You guys don't know about it. How do you think you fall in? I'm just going to throw all the cards out there.
Right.
I will be the one to say it out loud.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and ruin the games in this game, and nothing to do with outside of this game. I'm gonna try and just break alliances or try and make people think differently about stuff. If something weird happens and I get an idol played on me, all the better. But 95%, I'm going home. But you guys are not gonna walk out here one happy family.
Right.
You know.
All right. So I didn't want to even get that much into it because I'll start. I mean, it's just, to me, it's ridiculous what's going on. But anyway, anything else about that? Oh, Prope says, oh, here we go. Prope says, you can't, he says to Varner, you can't say on one hand that Zeke is deceiving by not telling his tribe and then say you thought he was out loud and proud about it. But that's not true, because Varner did think he was out loud and proud about it. And so, but he did think he was deceiving the tribe. So Probst even kind of like, anyway.
That goes along with what Sarah said as well. And I like Sarah, but she contradicted the same thing, which to me didn't make sense. And that's why Varner kept speaking, because he was trying to make sure that she understood his point, in that I thought all of his friends and family and people, daily friends, knew him, and I thought that he was trying to keep that from you all, thinking it would be a sympathy vote or whatever it was, or whatever you might get out of it. But just, I agree, and I think Sarah kind of missed that, and I think Probst did too.
I think Probst was doing what Probst does best, and throwing fuel on fire.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he held the
here's
lighter
a fire starting. Let me make it bigger. Woof.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
All right, so I want to say two things. Number one, I don't think for a second, having watched Varner in the past, having spoken with Varner, that this was not out of malice at all. I have talked with Varner about, and he's very active in that community, in the state that he lives. This was not malicious in any way, in my opinion. The second thing that I want to say is, I know people are probably going, well, you're just defending. I do think that his move was a strategic move that has worked in other things, but he should have been smart enough to realize that this is not the kind of topic that you do that with. This is that you don't do that with this particular topic, because you do that with that topic and just fires go up everywhere. It was a bad mistake. It was a bad idea. It is different than outing you for being a bounty hunter, because you being a bounty hunter isn't, some big thing that people are going to get upset about, or that people try to hide and things like that. You don't have to come out for being a bounty hunter. So for him to do that about this was very bad judgment. Even though he felt like he had a legitimate strategy, it was a very bad judgment. I think we can all agree it was a very bad judgment. So
at the end of the day, it was a mistake.
Yeah,
he made a mistake.
Absolutely.
We all do. Every person here, everyone around the world, has put their foot in their mouth at one point or another.
Yeah.
Right.
Jeff Varner has not always said the best things about me in my eyes.
Right.
But he was on that bully train for a minute, saying I was a bully. But never in any of that do I know that happened and look at what happened and say he was trying to be mean. He was trying to be vindictive or hurt someone's feelings. Nothing to me portrayed that. It was classic foot mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a good thing we're not, all judged for one horrible mistake we make.
Taking my shirt off at Durham was a horrible
It really was. And if I ever show that video, you're going to be in trouble.
I'll be in Alabama in about 5 minutes. Great.
All right. Oh, Ty even, at least, because he even understood what we're saying right now about how he didn't feel like it was malicious and things like that. All right. Enough of that. We are done. So who goes home?
There'll be more.
In the most awkward non-vote I've ever seen.
I didn't see it coming.
It was just like, okay, so do we even need to vote? Yeah, really. Do we even need to vote?
Complete utter shock.
Yeah, do
Or
we
all-
need to vote? But I'm going to take a vote anyway.
Yeah. Or are we all mad enough at him to vote him off? You know, it's like, so anyway.
What would they have done if Varner demanded that? No, I want it on parchment.
That they would have done it, and he still would have gone home.
I
Yep.
just think it would have been funny.
Well, yeah, it would.
would.
Well, it probably wouldn't have been funny. I mean, I think
To
that
me.
would have been taking it even more over the line than he already went. So, someone wrote, "Wrong is wrong. He crossed the line." That is absolutely right. But that doesn't mean he can't be forgiven, and that doesn't mean that we can't give him a second chance.
Right.
There you go. All right. It is time for next episode. The merge is coming.
Yes.
I am excited about the
Yes.
merge.
Mhm.
Are you?
I'm too. One camp, one group, one load of filming. Yes, I am too.
All right. Okay. Wow. All right. Here we go.
What do
I
you
don't
want us
know.
to say? I don't know
know.
what you want me to say.
I don't know. Just, engage. All right. Next week, we talk merge with Jessica Lewis, and she will have a lot to say about it. It'll be great.
That podcast is just a stone's throw away. Okay.
So, David, didn't you want us to do something before we got to the feedback? No, did you decide not to do that anymore? Kind of give everybody's chances at the merge?
Oh. Yeah, I just want to ask in general, since I don't do a rankings anymore, don't really blog about it. Who do you like going forward? Who do you think's in a good position right now? And if Jason's, I don't know if he's still listening. Okay.
Yes.
Who do you think, looking at the tribe that just went to tribal, anybody from that group do you think is sitting in a good position?
That group?
Yeah, that group first.
I think Ozzy's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
I don't see that helping Andrea or Zeke at all. It's not going to benefit them. It's not going to hurt them. I think they're exactly where they were. I think Debbie's in trouble because eventually someone's going to start asking questions if they didn't ask already about what happened
Yeah.
at Exile. And we don't know. We were given none of that.
Yeah, but we know that
Who's
that was
left?
there. Right.
Ty
Ty's
and Sarah.
And I think if anyone on that tribe, Sarah's in the best spot.
I do too, because I think she's the one that could actually walk away and walk to the other group.
I think she showed emotion for the first time. I think she showed during the episode her ability to talk to people, that she is thinking in the game. She is able to differentiate what's going on with different people and different cliques. I think she's showing the most potential out of that group.
Yeah. I cannot disagree with those assessments. Dwayne, do you have any thoughts on those before we get to the other tribe?
I think that Ozzy may not be as in trouble as people think, because I think Zeke, who I think is doing very well, is going to protect him as long as possible so that he will have Ozzy as a shield, as he's already told us, which is a very smart strategy. So I don't think Zeke wants Ozzy gone. And because of that, I think Zeke will do whatever he can to put targets on other people.
Mhm.
And I think Zeke is very influential and very good at this game. And now, of course, he had sympathy with him. And I mean, if I'm Zeke and that happened to me, I'm going to use that, right? I'm going to use it the rest of the game if I can. And so I think Zeke's going to protect Ozzy.
Yeah,
This is
but
my thing. Where does the sympathy go?
how far does it go? Final fifth place, sixth place? Because I'm not letting you go to the
Not
end of
even
the
that.
game.
Right.
Are you the one that's going to bring it up?
No. I'm not bringing it up. No.
Bingo.
I just know
so
it's
you go
there.
to the other tribe. How far? Yeah, but how far is that sympathy going to take you? Because the other people right now have no idea what happened.
Right. Okay. But I'm not saying that the sympathy is going to be what takes him. I'm going to say Zeke is smart enough to know that that's another element that he can use in his strategy.
Mhm.
So.
But if it's very clear he doesn't want to use that.
Well,
I think Jason's saying the sympathy goes as far as the next night,
right,
or the end of that night,
Yeah.
because the next morning the game is still on.
Yeah. Or the next time he, votes somebody off to protect Ozzy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, you're
So
absolutely right.
on the Mana tribe, Haley and who was it that he did not mention? It was Haley and Michaela. How do you think they're sitting right now?
I think Michaela's starting to rub people the wrong way. Her lack of emotion and effort towards others, bossiness. She cracks me up. I'm a Michaela fan because
me too.
she pulls no punches and says whatever. So it makes me laugh. But I think it's going to start draining on people. I think she's in a bad spot.
Yeah.
Haley, she really there?
She's having the opposite social effect.
Yeah.
I think she could be sitting beside you and you wouldn't realize it for the 30 minutes until she says.
I think right now she's just a seat filler.
Yeah.
And it's not against her. It's just hasn't stood out.
Right.
Best spot on that tribe, I think, is my girl. I think Aubrey's doing good. Who is my pick to win it all, but had a lot to do with favoritism.
Well, that's why I picked Troy.
She's doing well.
What?
You blinked out there.
Oh, so did you?
Oh, I think, her starting to push an alliance with Culpepper and make some kind of bond and connection. I think that helped her. I think being with the group of emotional people and all of them realize, okay, we are all going through the same thing right now. I think that's really going to benefit her. Suck those alliances in nice and tight. I think she's sitting in the best spot out of anybody in the game.
Wow. Yeah, that was neat that she went from being
radar for a minute.
Yeah.
I think she's about to turn it on.
Yeah. That was good for her that she went from being blindsided by her own tribe to being on a tribe that's winning and obviously sitting better. But at the same time, they had, to me, a non-buff moment where there was no color to buffs. It was just a matter of people talking, experienced people talking, and she jumped right in there. And I know it was personal for her. It was obviously honest for her, it seemed. But at the same time, she was such a part of that conversation and such a part of that group. And that's something you don't forget. They're bonding at one tribe. They're bonding for Zeke, and they're bonding at the other tribe in another way. And I just think that's going to be important going down the road. I agree. I think Aubrey's in a good spot. I think Brad is still in a good spot. Nobody's hating on Brad other than Debbie. And Debbie, I think, was probably going to go before Brad. But Brad is just getting a lot of love right now.
Brad's doing well. He's in a spot that can't hurt him, can't really help him too much more because he's already sitting high on that totem pole. Yeah. I don't need to be number one right now. I just need to be 1 through 4.
Right.
And as long as Ozzy starts winning challenges,
all you
Brad
gotta
won't
do
look
is
as
be in the
threatening.
numbers. Brad's gonna end up in the numbers. Brad's gonna be sitting pretty and fine for a while.
Yeah. Because I think Ty's going to go back to Brad. Where do you think Ty's loyalty is going to lie?
I'm sorry. Really?
I know. Jason loves questions about Ty.
Where are Ty's alliances going to lie? That's like, oh, wow. Forget it. Go ahead.
If you ask me a question, I didn't hear it.
Do you think Ty stays with Zeke's group, or do you think Ty goes back to Brad?
Right
if he's
now,
choosing between the two, yeah.
Ty's going to try and side wherever the numbers are. He don't care. I don't think he cares one way or another on which side he's on. And I don't think he tries to think ahead of. He's not good at the game.
No,
he's not. I'll say he is absolutely terrible at Survivor. He gets far because everyone thinks he's got a great heart.
Yeah.
And everyone seems to push aside the fact that he'll throw anybody.
Yeah.
He'll throw any name out there, and every time he tries to think for himself, he's floating.
Yeah. Well,
when he thought for himself to try and vote me out, and he wrote my name down, and it would look like, why'd you do that?
I mean, even
it
when
was the plan.
Even when they
you
told
have to discuss the plan with people.
Sometimes Google Hangouts is a pain in the butt. I just want to say that. Even whenever he played the idol earlier in the season, it was like play the idol. Oh, okay. Who am I supposed to play it for? Someone tell me.
I want to play it for point 2 person, please.
Yeah.
I think the only reason Ty's sitting better than a lot of people is because he's got 2 idols in his pocket, and maybe Brad will tell him where to play him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Pull them
funny.
both out, Ty. Play it on me and on Sierra, and then we'll vote you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, by the way, Vader Girl finally showed up in the chat room. Apparently, she fell asleep. And when she woke up, she thought it was tomorrow. I tell you, she's got to avoid, you don't eat
That's
those
a good sleep.
mushrooms. You got to be careful which mushrooms you eat. Just kidding, Vader Girl. Just kidding. All right. So, any other questions about the future and the merge and everything, David?
No.
All right. Then, if you want to join our Survivor Facebook group, we are getting on up there, getting pretty close to 1,000 coming up. You'll see a lot of good discussions. So stwdd.com/Facebook. And by the way, guess what episode number this is for Survivor Talk with D&D?
9.
297.
9? Did you say 9?
He said 9.
That's what he said. 297.
I'm pretty sure there's only 3 because I've only been on.
Yeah. It's 3 because this is your third one. All the other ones don't matter
Right.
because you didn't
Exactly.
you didn't listen to or hear any of those. So, anyway, so that
I've been in the chat room many times as other
yes, you
people.
have. Yes. Yeah. You've actually watched a lot of our episodes and got in the chat room even during your season.
Yeah. Just different names.
Yeah. It was funny because people would be talking about Jason and you'd be like, you're a really smart person, or I agree with what they're saying. Yeah.
Or we'd be talking about everybody but Jason, and then somebody would pop up and say, but Jason's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, are you saying we should get back on Jason?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'd be a great idea.
Yeah. So
I know
anyway,
he's not in this season, but can we bring him up again?
that's right. Well, in 3
if that ever
episodes,
happens, you'll know it's me.
that's right. It'll be our 300th episode, and I have absolutely nothing planned for it, but it is our 300th episode.
It's just 300. We'll play big for 1,000. We'll do that.
Wow. Anyway, before we start our feedback, we are about to get into feedback. And those of you who are at the beginning of the show, I have honored what I told you was going to be going on, and it continues. So before we start feedback, a note of warning for those of you with young listeners within the last 2 feedback. So everything up to the last feedback, don't have to worry about a thing if you got young listeners. But in the last feedback, the topic of Varner and Zeke, the situation is clearly discussed, and personal opinions about the topics are explored. And so we will let you know where that's going to happen. So you may stop listening if you choose, so your little 9-year-old or 8-year-old isn't asking you, what in the world are they talking about? All right. So that's fair warning. We will give you notice whenever that happens. So there you go. That's just us trying to be nice to all those parents that listen to the show with their kids. All right. All right. Anyway. All right. So here we go. We are going to follow David's feedback document, and it starts with me, Sin from Serbia. All right. Hello, D&D. Before this episode, I really liked Jeff Varner. He was a funny and interesting character who I enjoyed watching a lot. After this episode, nothing has changed. He is still one of my favorites, and after watching his day after video, I like him even more. The logic for how he came to the decision to say what he did say in Tribal Council makes sense to me. It was still a mistake, but we all have made one or two. Varner assumed that the only persons who didn't know his situation were his allies, and that Zeke is the new Russell Hantz. I knew about Zeke since about half of this first season, so if I knew, that means a lot of viewers had that information also. If anybody wanted to find it, it was possible. From 7 tribe mates, only 5 maybe didn't know. It was not a big secret for viewers, so we should not blame Varner too much. He feels overwhelmed with guilt already. For me, the bigger problem is Probst and CBS. If they wanted to protect Zeke, all they needed to do is for Jeff Probst to say, stop, we are not going there, and not allow any of discussion about it, or even for it to air, for that matter. Maybe even use some editing tools. It would not be the first time. They chose not to do it. They wanted a good TV moment and they got it. For me, that made the episode less enjoyable, and I had to fast forward through some parts. Almost the same thing as when Debbie going crazy in the episode before, or 2 episodes before. Anyway, I really like Varner, and one slip up can't change that. Would love to see him back as a guest when the dust settles. Maybe some episode of next season. Next episode is Merge, and that makes me really happy. Hope to see less culturally relevant Survivor and more outwit, outlast, and outplay parts. All the best. Keep doing a great job. Lots of greetings. Sin from Serbia. All right, David, you've got Bobby from Connecticut.
And he starts with, all right, I'm going to be careful how I word this because I'm going to defend Varner. I'll also keep it short. Point for that. I was getting very upset during that tribal council and was really close to turning off the episode. I did not like how everyone was piling on Varner over and over again. How many times does a guy have to say he is sorry before people are satisfied? Zeke could have said anything he wanted to, and I wouldn't have minded since he was the victim. But the way everyone else, including Probst, just wouldn't let it go really bothered me. Varner misread the room, regretted it immediately, and did not deserve how everyone else treated him. He said a dumb thing, and they decided to use it against him to turn it into an awareness segment. I found that kind of offensive, but I understand that it is just how television works. An unhappy Bobby.
All right. Now we've got Colin from California, unless somebody else has anything. Jason? By the way, Jason, feel free to jump in.
I was on a work text.
No, that's all right. Feel free to jump in anytime you want. All right? We do not mind.
I'll take a platform.
All right, there you go. Colin from California. Hey, D&D, Colin from California here. First-time feedbacker. Long-time listener. Colin, are you in the chat room? I think he was earlier. No, he's not. I know the last 15 minutes of Tribal will get you a lot of feedback, so I'm going to talk about something different. We all love you, Zeke, he says. So I was impressed with Brad once again by making alliances other than Sierra, by showing his emotional side and not just saving his tears for confessionals. He got 2 of the girls to say they might want to work with him. Going into a merge with even more options is so good for him. I'm not saying that what he was doing was for strategy, but do you think this is a good strategy for the alpha males like Brad, Joe, Mike, Ozzy, etc.? I think we've already said that, right? I mean, obviously he didn't hear this, but Jason most assuredly said that.
Well, I think
Right,
Jason was also pointing out that while they were crying, Arby was thinking at the same time, this is me getting close to you.
Right. All right. It could have
But I
been.
don't think this isn't Brad's first time making alliances.
No.
He's been doing it the whole game.
Yeah.
Nobody except Debbie, which that doesn't really count because she just had a freak out moment against everybody at that moment. No one said anything bad about it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Heck, man, Brad was making alliances when he was decorating the camp. Everybody was loving him, you know?
And I think his group was ready to defend him against Debbie because they were all trying to calm Debbie down.
Yep.
Yep.
They weren't going to vote him out.
No.
All right. He continues. It could have them be perceived to be softer. He's talking about the alpha males, which would direct away from their physical dominance. I would love to hear what you guys think. Well, Colin, hopefully we answered what you think. Well, do you think that it would also direct people away from their physical dominance?
Not if Ozzy did it. He's still Ozzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
The
Ozzy.
big boys are still going to be known as the big boys.
Correct.
Yeah.
Even if you start hugging people, you're still that guy that can lift up a big rock and run through water and beat those kind of challenges.
Yeah, after that first immunity challenge is when it finishes Ozzy, Culpepper, and Troyzan. Yeah, they're still going to be the big boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one thing the difference between Ozzy and all these other, Ozzy always feels, to me, always feels like he's by himself. You know what I mean? Like he's never really, I always feel like he's kind of in his own little world.
I feel he doesn't talk that much either.
Yeah.
Which is not good social gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, you should always be in a conversation with somebody because you don't want to be the one not in a conversation.
He's going to need a lot of conversation because you're public enemy number 1.
That's what I'm saying. If you're getting a lot of quiet time or alone time, you're not in a good place.
Yeah. All right. He continues. May the force be with you. And Kale is gross. Sorry, Beta Girl. Good job. I wonder if Beta Girl caught that because they're in this heated discussion on our chat. Not heated, but they are talking up a storm in the chat room. All right, David, you are reading Becky.
Hey guys, wow, what a crazy tribal council. When I saw just under 25 minutes of the show left when they went to tribal, I had a feeling it was going to be a good one. I saw 22 point something left on mine when I was watching it.
Oh yeah, it was at 40 minutes. Yeah.
And it was in a way. I was beyond shocked when Varner said what he did concerning Zeke. I thought he was being funny at first. Then I got really mad at him for what he did. I felt sadness for Zeke. To have the most intimate thing told about you the way it was done was beyond comprehension. Zeke showed so much class and more grace than I think I would have been able to do. I bet when production picked the word metamorphosis in the challenge, they never thought that it would have such an impact for the rest of the day.
Hello. Whereas I
don't know.
I think they went and painted the balls as soon as they figured out what was going to happen and made a new thing to make it metamorphosis. That's what I think happened.
Haley, we need you to come here and say the word metamorphosis.
Yes.
just some B-roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually a combination of numbers to get a box open, but they ended the challenge when they got to the word.
Yeah. By the way, I want to say that I agree that Zeke, because he didn't want that known in the Survivor world, and he didn't want to be known as that guy. Like my wife has MS. She doesn't want people to see her as the woman with MS. She doesn't want to be known as the MS woman. So I can respect that, and I like how Zeke showed class and a lot of grace in that situation. Mm-hmm. Only if only more people would do that same thing.
I think he handled the best way he could have.
Yeah. I mean, he was the object of this, and he's showing grace. Why can't other people do the same thing?
Good question.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
It's a word they've never used or even said that I recall during any season. I do feel bad for Varner. It was a lapse of judgment. He will live with that for the rest of his life. I hope he will one day be able to forgive himself and not let this lead to deep depression. Becky.
Yep. All right. Will, the giant ninja. What's up, guys? It's Will from Wonder Lake again, a.k.a. the Giant Ninja. By the way, David, don't even try to keep up with the chat room.
I'm not.
It's going really fast, and you can't keep up, and we won't even be able to pay attention to the show, so I've just kind of...
My font's so big, I'm only getting 3 boxes.
Yeah, it's like it's going... Yeah. Lots of talk. All right, so here we go. What's up, guys? It's Will from Wonder Lake again, a.k.a. the Giant Ninja. Okay, so there's about a 0% chance that I'm watching live tonight. The Hawks are on. So I'll listen to everyone else's thoughts tomorrow. But I still wanted to share mine. Number 1, I refuse to let a horrible decision determine my impression of and opinions about Jeff Varner. I enjoy Varner on the show. He seems like a genuinely good person. I'm quite positive he wishes he could go back in time and undo what he did, but he can't. He shouldn't have done it. He should have known better, but he did it, and I won't hate him for it. Zeke doesn't want this to define him for me, so I won't let it. Zeke's a kick-butt Survivor player and a fun and funny guy. I'd like to have a beer with him. By the way, I agree. I love Zeke. I've been liking watching Zeke from the beginning, and it doesn't change anything that I think about Zeke.
And he's different from Varner, and I enjoy watching Varner for the same reasons.
Yeah. So. Number 3, now I'm going to share my unpopular opinion. He says, don't hate me for it. Varner, he's right. This is okay. You thought the chat room was going crazy? It's about to go really crazy. All right. Varner did not cross the line. Dun, dun, dun. All right, here we go. Number 4, because there is no line. They're playing Survivor. Everyone agrees that things that are objectively immoral, like lying to people, are okay within the bounds of the game. I'm just not okay with drawing lines and saying this wrong thing over here is okay to do in the game, but that wrong thing over there, that's off limits. Either you can do whatever you think will help your game, or you can't. For my money, you can. So what he's saying is it's okay to lie. You can't pick and choose what's wrong, is what he's saying. Whether I agree with him or not, that's what he's saying. Number 5, I didn't always think that way. I remember learning that Fairplay's grandma was alive and well, and watching Jerry Springer and thinking, wow, that is over the line. Number 6, I remember watching Lex and Boston Rob's friendship breakdown and siding with Lex. But I also remember watching Tony swear on his badge. I remember Tony saying, I don't care, I'll swear on anything if it helps me in the game. Then, number 8, no, Varner's mistake wasn't in crossing some objective line. Rather, he crossed a subjective line. He did something that was almost guaranteed to be universally loathed by his tribe. I agree, he did. He did something that was almost guaranteed. It was wrong within the game because his tribe would think it was wrong. It couldn't have possibly helped him. There was not any upside. Never do anything unless there is an upside. I think I get what Varner was trying to do. Number 1, I don't see the obvious disconnect between him thinking Zeke was out and telling the tribe about it. From Varner's perspective, it was possible that everyone in Zeke's life knew, but that the tribe didn't. Sarah and Probst both called him on that disconnect, but I can look past that. But something I always ask my kids, why did you do that? Their answer is often, I don't know. And I'll tell Varner the same thing I tell my kids and my clients. If you don't know why you're doing something, don't do it, period. No good was going to come from this. No good could have come from this. This was a horrible decision within the game of Survivor. If Jeff Varner wasn't going to go home last night before he did that, he would have gone home after doing it. It was that bad. From a game perspective, this was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. Oh, I have no more water. Number 10. The Survivor editors tried to help him a bit. The whole time we were watching the What Would Monica Try breakdown and talk about... Okay, hold on. The whole time we were watching the What Would Monica Tribe breakdown and talk about how nobody who... David, how am I reading that wrong?
I have no idea. You're reading what he wrote.
I know, but...
I figured I was missing something too.
The whole time we were watching the What Would Monica Tribe breakdown... Who's... I can hear myself in someone's thing. The whole time we were watching the What Would Monica Tribe breakdown and talk about how nobody who hasn't played understands what the game does to your mind. I was wondering where it was going. Turns out they were trying to soften the blow. Survivor messes with your head. Things that a rational person might realize are horrible ideas might appear tempting simply because you're pushing your body and mind to their limits. Interesting. I think he said something that CBS was kind of preparing us for that.
Okay,
right?
so he's saying they were watching the Mana Tribe, the What Would Monica, but Mana Tribe, their breakdown and how they were talking about how nobody understands how they play the game plays. So that's what
I don't think CBS helped Jeff at all.
Well, yeah, it didn't look like it.
No. He's saying that they were building up through this episode, like I was saying about how the game plays with your head and it makes you do crazy things. But yeah, I don't think they ended up leading back to that at all.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Bonus. I don't think that the whole thing was staged. Ooh. But metamorphosis? Really? Wow. When they so directly talked about the 13-letter word puzzle, how often does Jeff ever tell us how many letters are involved? Not very, or I wouldn't have noticed. I guess drop your buffs. I figured we were merging, but the winning former tribe all had individual immunity. I figured we were merging, but the winning former tribe all had individual immunity. Oh, okay. That would have been even better for everyone. Okay, so what he's saying is he figured they were going to merge and the winning tribe that won that challenge would all have immunity. That's what he's saying.
Right.
Later, peeps. Will at the Giant Ninja. All right. John from Ohio.
That would have been an interesting twist to have that whole challenge. And at the end, they saw the puzzle that says drop your buffs. At the end of the challenge, Prope says everybody on that pier is going to tribal council, but you're all getting new buffs and you're all going back to the same camp for tonight.
Yeah. What do you think, Jason? Do you think that would have been a cool
That would have
thing?
been interesting. I think it would be better if I could go to tribal with you and I'm just not on the block, because then I can see who's with who. That's the best advantage you can give me.
Yeah.
I can see who's linking up with who, what you guys are saying, what you're fighting about, and then watch who goes home. That gives me so much information. That would be fun.
So as you're sitting where Debbie sat last week and watching from the sidelines, since you're not on the block, what does Prope say to you when you say, hey, Jeff, can I ask Ty if he realizes that they're lying to him?
I'm probably just going to let it happen.
For the record, let the record show that we are striking that comment. Ty, disregard that comment that Jason said they're lying to you and don't think about it anymore.
You didn't hear that, Ty. Don't even worry about it.
Ty can't take his eyes off Jason now. Who's lying to me?
You should play your idols.
Yeah.
Play it for me.
Idol. Pull it out and play idol. Play all of them. All right, so now we're going to John from Ohio, and this is where we want to remind you guys that our final 3 feedback are specific in their details, like we mentioned earlier. So if you don't stick around, thank you for catching us this week, and we'll see you next time. But if you are, which I think Dwayne's earlier comment will only entice you to listen to the end.
Well, not if you're listening, with your 5-year-old, you probably won't.
Now there's no
Am I supposed to hang up now, or am I old enough?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if you can handle this.
Well, we should have put a warning when you came on the podcast.
Am I old enough for this?
Yes.
Now there's no vulgar language or
maybe
anything. It's just yes.
No, we're just going to get a little more specific into what we're being talking about, and since we're family friendly,
Yeah.
This isn't stuff you talk about in a G-rated movie, so we're not talking about it. But now we are.
All right. So this is John from Ohio. Hey, Dwayne and David. It's John from Ohio again. I'll just start at the most obvious place to start, and that's with Varner. Varner made a huge error in judgment here and obviously made one of the biggest mistakes ever on Survivor. Outing Zeke like that was just terrible, but the way Zeke handled it was incredibly cordial and admirable. He is an incredibly strong person. Varner did something desperate and illogical. There's a lot of people saying that Zeke told Varner that he was transgender, but if you listen to Varner's day after interview, that's clearly not what happened. Varner said that he immediately knew that Zeke was transgender because he's part of the LGBT community. My heart goes out to Zeke for being so gracious and strong, but it also goes out to Varner, who was incredibly quick to realize what a horrible mistake he had made. I'm in no way excusing what Varner did, but if you listen to his exit interview, it's clear that he's incredibly remorseful and misread the situation. I do not believe Varner came from a malicious place, as Sarah said. Although the act itself was certainly malicious, Varner made a mistake and assumed something he shouldn't have. He assumed Zeke was already out because this was his second season back-to-back, among other reasons. I don't know why that made him assume that Zeke was out, but it did. He acted on this assumption in an awful way because he was desperate. This was his 3rd time playing Survivor, and he desperately wanted to be on the jury. It's not an excuse to do what he did, but I believe that Varner is a good person who made a horrible mistake. So nobody should send Varner hate. If you feel compelled to, try sending support to Zeke instead. Last thing about this, Jeff Probst handled this situation incredibly well. Anybody want to comment on that?
I don't think he handled it that well. I think he added fuel to a fire and spotlighted a situation that was already bad and helped make it even worse. Here, let me help you dig that grave a little deeper.
Right, which he knew he was doing.
Want a bigger shovel? Hey, Jeff, you want a bigger shovel? I can give you one of those.
Yeah. Which he does all the time. That's part of what he does. Yeah. And I fully expect that CBS not only knew this was going to happen, but was waiting for it to happen and wanted it to happen.
And even when he said the thing that you didn't just out him in front of 6 people, you outed him in front of everyone. or everyone watching. Whereas they could have said, we're going to retract this, delete this, and go back, and you're not going to be allowed to say this again. But so anyway, moving on. I'm going to try and be as brief as possible when talking about my other thoughts on this week's episode, so bear with me. Jeff Probst said in an interview that there's going to be a change in the jury format this season. What do you guys think that change could be? Do you think it's possible that they have a final 2 with 11 jurors rather than a final 3 with 10 jurors? That would be a change in the format.
Well, that's certainly possible. They've done it before, right?
What if the change is to separate the jury?
What do you mean?
I don't think that'll be the change because it's not really a change. It's things they've done before. I think when they say change, it's something different.
Yeah.
No, I mean separate the jury from talking to each other.
Oh,
It's terrible.
I know.
are you kidding?
It's terrible.
I mean, that's half the joy of being on the jury is getting to eat pizza and talk to each other and play video games and share rooms.
Why'd you have to say pizza?
Another thing that bugs me about that is that's manipulating the game. It's a social game. Part of being social is I made an ally.
Yeah.
Dave, you're my ally. I need you to talk to Dwaine and help me.
Absolutely.
If Dwaine listens to you, that's on Dwaine.
Right. Oh, I agree. Making the final 3 is the ultimate goal. Making the jury is the second because you are still in the game by being on the jury.
Yes.
Absolutely. No, I wouldn't want them to sequester the jury away from each other either. I agree that some of the Ponderosa videos are some of the best videos. So next, I want to mention Ty and Debbie. Next week, there's a merge, as we saw in the preview. What will Ty and Debbie do? My first inclination is that they will go back to Brad, but will they? Ty goes with an idol and Debbie goes with a knife? Is that how they go back to Brad?
Debbie will not. Debbie will not. There's no way. We're talking about the same person that did not vote for Aubrey to win because she promised she would never put her name down.
I think when Debbie tells somebody that you hurt her, she will never let that go because she's not wrong. She's not going to be wrong. She knew what she did. She knew what she was right.
I don't believe she'll work with Aubrey either for that same reason.
So you think the co-wrong trio is not going to have an effect?
No. Debbie will. I don't believe Debbie will ever work with Aubrey.
Yeah.
Because it's a Debbie again. You did me wrong. We're done forever.
Yep.
So I can't see her going to Brad either.
Yeah. If it was a different co-wronger.
Yeah, she's going to be trying to do her own thing and just frustrate people, and she's going home. I give her 3 episodes.
So all Sarah's got to do is say, Ty, don't you remember? I was on co-wrong too. I was in the.
Ty, I forgot.
The game messes with your head. The game messes with your head. It's a changing game. Bless his heart.
Would you like an idol?
Do you have an extra idol on you? Because Brad said
he's
you
just
might.
giving them away like a vendor.
Hey, I have no more idols. I need to go find another idol.
He's cracking open coconuts, putting them in there. Like, here you go, a drink in safety.
All right. He goes on. I'm just not sure. I hope they stick with Ozzy, Andrea, and Zeke. Ty is as valuable as it comes at this point because of his idols. And when Ty has idols, I find that it's more of the Alliance's idol. True. So I'd love for Ty and Debbie to stay with Ozzy, Zeke, and Andrea. I don't know where Sarah fits here, as she seems eager to make moves, even though she's in a good alliance. I have a feeling she's going to try and play both sides. Last time she did that, she got voted out.
And it's not the Alliance's idol. We thought the same thing too. Remember how that turned out?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and he hadn't even told anybody about this.
He's using it for himself.
Yeah. In fact, he might play both just to make sure he does not get voted out. It won't probably count. So he goes to play both, and Probst said, "New twist. If you play 2, it counts as none." So
I just made that up on the spot.
yeah, exactly. That's another twist.
Although that's not the twist because I do that often.
So here, next paragraph. Why does Ozzy get so much hate? He's awesome. Did you see him in that water? My goodness.
Man, that is so true.
But it's not hate. It's just he's a threat to go to the end because of that.
I don't want to stand next to him.
Heck no.
But you know what? I like Ozzy actually even more this season because he's just a good person. But I don't think he's a socially strong person as far as the Survivor game goes. But he's an amazing challenge person.
Yeah.
It's just unreal.
Either that or
But I don't want to stand next to him in the finals.
Oh, no, I don't either.
No, I don't either. Because he will have Mike Holloway just wait to the end, and he will have won his way.
He could be socially awkward as they get. But if you win 9, 8, 7 challenges, oh, you got a resume.
That's right. So if there's 13, and if it's a final 3, he'd have to win 10. If it's a final 2, he'd have to win 11. So, yeah, that's quite a resume to get to the end with. You're right.
Didn't they win 7? Wasn't that the record?
Mike
7?
won.
Mike 5.
5. Okay.
And it was 5 of the last 6 because he lost 1 in there and had to use his idol, and Shireen got voted out. Or no, that was earlier. They voted her out, and then he saved himself later with that idol. Going on about Ozzy, if there was any doubt about whether or not he still has it, there isn't anymore. And also, he's the only player to have hit the merge all 4 times playing, I believe. You can't say that about Boston Rob, who practically had a season tailor-made for him to win Redemption Island. Ozzy's been so close to winning, and I really hope he sticks around. Ozzy's a person you want around if he's in your alliance. He keeps individual immunity away from people you may want to get rid of. And also, and no one ever mentions this, he's a loyal guy. He doesn't flip or deceive his alliance members. Plus, he'll keep the shade off of you. He's the perfect person to have in your alliance. Obviously, if you're in his alliance, you can't let him go all the way, but there will be times to get rid of him. Personally, I hope they never get rid of him, of course. Brad is the golden man right now. There's so much to say about what a good position Brad is in and what a good edit he's getting, but I'm not going to delve into that. Did you guys notice Michaela playing? Oh, did you guys notice Michaela playing with the sand as everyone was crying? That was so priceless. So happy Michaela has made it to the merge.
I love watching Michaela. They could have just like 10 confessionals of her episode, and I'd be happy.
But we got none. I really thought we'd get one from that playing in the sand thing.
Yeah.
That's it for me. I think this was shorter than last week's feedback. I'm not sure about that. My goal is to make each feedback shorter than the last. Haha. Also, do you guys watch Westworld? If you don't, you should. Until next week, John from Ohio.
John from Ohio.
I did watch Westworld.
John.
That's right.
It was good.
All right. It's time for Vader Girl. Here we go. Here I am.
Hi, Dwayne and David. This is Mir I Am, also known as Vader Girl. All I can say is, wow, what an emotional episode last night was. I've cried many times since then. I'm sure a lot of us have. There's been many emotions of shock, sadness, empathy. It's just unbelievable that happened at a tribal council. I feel bad for everybody involved. Zeke is my hero. He's 100% man to me. I don't think anybody should out anybody's gender identity or their personal history. I don't know how Varner knew about that, but I don't think it's something he should have disclosed that way, using it as a weapon. I know Jeff feels really bad about this, but that's just a private medical issue that has nothing to do with deception or anybody's gameplay. That's a very private issue. Gender identity is different than sexuality. I had a professor at UC Berkeley, Susan Stryker, who was in the Women's Studies program and later founded the Gay and Lesbian Transgender Studies program. She is a transgender woman who is also a lesbian. So it's very different than sexuality, how you feel about yourself and how you identify as gender. Gender is socially constructed. Who you are on the inside, it just brought up a lot of feelings and emotions. And I know a lot of people are confused about it, but it's a very private thing. And Zeke is 100% man to me. He is all male. And I just want to send so much love. I'm glad this conversation is happening. I hope nobody is sending Jeff Varner any hate. He feels bad enough. It was a terrible slip up in an emotional state. And I just want to send love to everybody, send healing to everybody. And I'm glad people are starting to have a dialogue about sexual identity and transgender issues, because it is very important, especially with all the hatred due to our current president and all the things that's happening. So I'm just glad people are talking. Just everybody be positive, everybody be nice, everybody be loving. Like I said, Zeke is my hero. What an amazing character. And just sending you guys love and light. I really have nothing else to say. I just can't think of anything else but that situation right now. So may the force be with you, Black Cats and Kale for life. And, just everybody be nice. Bye, guys.
Black cats and kale. I still don't understand why she eats black cats and kale.
You think the kale would get stuck in your teeth?
Yeah.
Or the hair from the cat.
Not the cat.
Oh, not the cat. Oh,
Not the cat.
No, cat will go right down. You ever had Chinese food?
Do what, Jason?
You ever had Chinese food? The cat goes right down.
Oh my gosh. I actually have a black cat. I also have a 17 or 18-year-old Mancoon.
What's a Mancoon?
It's a very cool looking cat. Very big, very fluffy. They have specific, you can tell a Mancoon by their fur colors. Have these little white paws and stuff.
I have a 25-pound rabbit.
Dude, 25-pound rabbit?
it needed its own seatbelt in the van.
Giant. It has its own house in the back.
I thought they had to move.
He lives outside.
Wow.
25
pounds. That's a hefty rabbit.
Wow. All right, Rachel, I will post some pics of my kitty cats. All right. Anyway. Oh, you know what's funny is, so my black cat, his name is Shadow. All right. And we got him as a kitty cat, and we have a dog named Pepper. So Shadow grew up with a dog. So Shadow does a lot of dog things. Like, for example, when you go to pet a dog, what does the dog immediately do?
Either wags his tail or rolls over on his back.
He rolls over on his back and goes, rub me like rub me, right? And our cat, you start petting our cat, and most cats don't like you to rub their belly. The Shadow is like all over it. Rub my belly all you want. All right, so the last one, David, you want you to read this one? Because I have not read it, and you have.
Okay.
So
this is from our friend
Daniel de Alovier.
Yes, in Brazil. This is the first episode in 34 seasons that has honestly discouraged me from watching Survivor. So many missed opportunities. First, the elephant in the room. Jeff Varner was actually doing great on Tribal Council before that epic mess up. This could have been a brilliant game move had he left the transgender part out. Missed an opportunity to just shut up. But that's not what discouraged me, honestly. It shocked me, but if we're being honest, we always say that Survivor is a microcosm of our real society. An outing could also happen in real life, just like lying, cheating, stealing, bullying, and all the bad things you've seen on screen. What discourages me the most is that at the same time we talk about acceptance, most of us rush to cast the first stone at someone who made a huge error in judgment, not even considering that A, he clearly regrets it, B, the person who was hurt the most by said error in judgment already said that, even though he struggled with it, he chose to forgive. I'm sorry, haven't we all said things that we immediately regret after saying? Are we just so good that we're allowed to appropriate someone else's pain and suffering? On that note, let's address something called responsibility. I see Jeff Varner taking responsibility for making the mistake of outing Zeke as transgender. I don't see CBS taking responsibility for editing that in and effectively outing Zeke to millions. Don't even begin with the couldn't cut it out apologies. America's Next Top Model once reshot an entire winner announcement because they found out months after filming that the original winner used to work as an escort prior to the show. Production could have very easily waited a few hours until the dust was settled and reshot parts of the Tribal Council, including the vote. This is what reality TV producers do. They're paid to make dull and fake things look interesting and believable. Look at the pop culture phenomenon that is the Kardashian family, for crying out loud. I'd rather not look at the like Kardashian family, but I understood his point. Oh, talk about losing brain cells. The outcome would still be the same, but lives wouldn't necessarily be changed because of it. I guess Survivor just needed the drama, the ratings, the relevancy, and the buzz. Being a respectable show isn't enough in a Kardashian-dominated reality TV world. CBS missed an opportunity to stay responsible and respectable. Jeff Probst also missed an opportunity to not be tribal council Oprah, but that is an opportunity that's been missed since his talk show was canceled after one season and he didn't take the hint. But I digress.
You think?
Yeah, Jeff Varner knows he screwed up, and he's done nothing but own up to everything. Zeke Smith is apparently a much classier man than a lot of us will ever be. Since the topic of acceptance has been brought up by the commotion, let this be an opportunity to be accepting of the man Zeke Smith is, regardless of the transgender label, and also an opportunity of accepting that people make mistakes, and the respectable thing to do is exactly what was done. Own up to it, apologize, and ask for forgiveness.
Very well said, Daniel. Very well said. All right. Well, how you like them apples?
That was pretty good. That was some good feedback from all sides.
Yep. I really enjoyed the show. Really enjoyed the feedback. Thought we handled everything well. Made enough people mad at us and enough people happy. Isn't that the way it normally goes?
It was a different episode. That's
Jason
for sure.
used to that. Yeah.
It almost felt like an unfinished episode since there wasn't really a vote, and it just ended on someone saying something they shouldn't have said, and
and spotlighted.
You know,
till the end of time.
Let's talk about the no vote. You know, I mean, it's almost like Probst was saying, we are stopping the game and asking you to leave. I mean, that's kind of what it felt like to me.
It was more to me of when you asked Jeff, can we just vote here at the reward challenge or at the immunity challenge? There's no reason to go back. We all know who it is.
Okay. All right. So
sure, we don't have to vote. Is it unanimous? Oh, it's unanimous. Fine.
All right. Okay. But what that does is in the official in the official count of votes against, Ozzy gets saved a vote. You know what I'm saying? Because Varner would have voted for Ozzy. So now Ozzy doesn't have that vote against him that in the Survivor Wikipedia world is going to mess things up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, even whenever they made a big deal about it, about Sandra only having one vote against her before she left, you know?
Yeah.
So what if it had been one of those situations where they were going to vote against her, but they did a deal like they did last night? So then she never had a vote against her. So for me, I think they should have at least, you know, cast your votes out loud then, but at least there's votes cast.
So what happens if Ty, who showed sympathy for Varner, suddenly when Probst goes to read the vote says, I'd like to play an idol for Varner to show that I accept his apology.
Exactly.
And throw my vote at because I threw my vote at Ozzy like Varner said to do, and Ozzy's knocked out of the game.
Right. See, I could see him doing that. But instead, obviously that's probably not going to happen.
You know how good of a play that would have been?
I know, that's why I brought it up. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it since this morning. I've been thinking about that since this morning. What if Ty said, can we just do at least a vote? We'll let Jeff go out the right way and not make him walk out without a vote. I mean, I know that nobody wanted to stand up for Jeff. It was a little bit of a peer pressure thing where is everybody in agreement that he's going to go? Or like, who's going to say no? You know, Varner could have said, can I at least go out with a ballot? But instead, you know, he gets the non-ballot send off, you know, and it's almost like after he snuffed his torch, Probst just turned and walked away. Didn't say goodbye or anything. Didn't do anything else.
And look, Vader Girl has a great point. What if he had an idol?
Yep.
I mean, seriously, it's like the game stopped and they just said Varner bye. But
you know how uncomfortable of a boat ride that'd be back home?
Yeah. I mean, really.
Even Ty would be uncomfortable. Like, I made a mistake.
Yeah. But I
was
mean,
I supposed to do that? Brad wasn't there to tell me what to do.
Still, I'm saying there are other options that could have happened because Ty is so unpredictable You never know. But since Probst asks out loud, Ty's going to go with what everybody says. But what if Ty went like really crazy and did exactly what Jason said? Played the idol on Varner, you know?
Oh, thanks. I didn't say that, but I'll take it.
I'm used to it.
Smart.
Who said it? If he didn't say it, who do you think said it? Ty's not here, so it must have been me. I get it all. It's just two of us sometimes. He doesn't remember what I say, so I'm used to it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Dave. I said it.
Anyway.
To me, I agree with your point. I think it was a little controlling, an executive controlling from Probst.
Absolutely. He was mad at Varner. I mean, obviously. And
it almost leads to the idea that there was so much more we didn't see.
Yeah.
That it was obvious from comments that there's no way he was not going home.
Right.
Unless he had an out of the
Well, we know there has to be more than we saw because tribals are long.
Yes. And even Varner said it was over 2 hours in one of his interviews today, and they edited down to that part.
I mean, we got 20 minutes. That's more tribal than we've ever had in our life.
Can you?
And it came up about a minute into it. Sorry, Dwayne, go ahead.
Oh, can you imagine how taxing that 2 hours was? Oh my.
Especially when they ran out of film.
Yeah. Pause.
Time out. Time out. We need to change this film. We'll get right back to this fight here in a minute.
And how painful and long that was for Varner after it hit him. What he just said and what happened, what occurred, and that's like, how painful is that? Oh my gosh, am I still sitting here? Is this still going on?
Yeah. Well, speaking of, am I still sitting here? Is this still going on? I think it's about time for us to wrap this up. By the way, we don't have any reviews this week, so you don't have to hear them. But if you would like to be a part of this short but sometimes meaningful segment, simply go leave us a review on iTunes. Okay, David, do you have any final words of wisdom before we move on and before I ask Jason for final words of wisdom?
My final words of wisdom are for anyone that happens to be on the same beach as me. If we do get to play Survivor, if you want me in your alliance, bring pizza.
Yes.
I'm there. I'm totally there.
What specific type of pizza would you like?
If I have to choose, I would choose the stuffed crust meat lovers, but instead of beef, it's salami, and it's pepperoni, Italian sausage, and salami. And it's amazing.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Jason, do you have any final words of wisdom? Jason looks frozen. Oh, no, I just saw his eyes blink.
I just heard you now. You said what?
Oh, I said, do you have any final words of wisdom? David gave us some. Do you have any?
Yes. If you play Survivor, watch where everybody sleeps. That will tell everything about who's involved with who.
That's right.
If you have an alliance, you tend to like to sleep next to the person you're comfortable with.
And what is amazing is even in real life, watch where everybody sleeps, because that generally tells you something too.
Yeah.
All right, bye, everybody. It has absolutely been a wonderful show. We love having y'all listen to us. We love having you in the chat room. Thank you for downloading us. Thank you for watching on YouTube. And Jason, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Always. Anytime you guys need me, I'm here. Hopefully next time my headphones and microphone will be better.
Yeah. Well, it actually worked very well. So,
but you can still come on another time.
Yeah. All right. See you, everybody.
See ya.